Have you ever sat through a meeting or read an email from your boss and just thought to yourself, what did they actually just say? It's a weird question, right? In companies that are obsessed with speed and efficiency, why is so much of our day-to-day communication just so vague? Well, the answer is a lot deeper and honestly a lot more fascinating than you might think.
Oh yeah, we've all heard a sentence just like this one. It's corporate bingo gold. It sounds super important, it's got all the right buzzwords, but it means, well, absolutely nothing. It's just a fog of words. And while it's easy to laugh at, this kind of talk is actually a really serious symptom of something much bigger happening under the surface at most companies.
And here it is. This is the central, kind of uncomfortable truth we're going to unpack. What if being vague isn't an accident? What if it's not a mistake? What if, in a lot of workplaces, being crystal clear is actually dangerous for your career? This isn't about people being bad communicators. It's about them making a very calculated, very rational response to risk.
So naturally, when we run into this kind of frustrating ambiguity, what's our first instinct? It's to find someone to blame, right? We look for the source of the problem, and our minds immediately jump to the people involved. You know the drill. Our minds just race to these conclusions. Ugh, my manager just can't communicate clearly. Or my colleagues are just too lazy to think this through. We might blame the execs for not having a real vision, or maybe we just decide, everyone here is just incompetent. It's the easy answer. It's a people problem.
But let's just pause on that for a second. Let's really challenge that idea. Is it really that all these different companies just happen to be filled with lazy people and bad managers? Or could something else be going on here?
What if this vagueness isn't a sign of incompetence at all? What if, and this is the big shift, what if it's a perfectly logical, even intelligent survival strategy for the environment those people are in? This totally changes our focus from the person to the system they're stuck inside.
And this brings us right to the heart of it all, the hidden incentives, the invisible system that actually makes being vague a much safer and often a much smarter career move than being clear.
The key idea here is something called psychological safety. All it really means is, do people feel safe enough to speak up? Can you ask a question, point out a mistake, or float a crazy idea without getting punished or humiliated for it? In places where that safety is low, people learn one thing very, very fast: protect yourself. And in that kind of environment, clarity can feel like a weapon that can be turned against you. Just look at this breakdown. This lays out the personal math that's happening, probably subconsciously, in people's heads. On one side, clarity. You're directly accountable, you're on the hook. If things go south, there's absolutely nowhere to hide. But on the other side, ambiguity. Now you have plausible deniability. You've got flexibility to change course. And maybe most importantly, responsibility gets spread out across the whole team, so no one person takes the fall. From a pure self-preservation point of view, it's not even a choice, is it?
So this is the crucial insight. We need to stop looking at ambiguity as a communication failure, as some kind of bug in the system that needs to be patched. It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a highly effective, deeply human defense mechanism that protects people from the real or perceived risks of their jobs.
And here's where it gets really tricky. This behavior isn't a one-off thing. Oh no. It feeds on itself. It creates this powerful, self-reinforcing loop that becomes almost impossible to break.
Okay, let's just trace how this thing works. It all starts with a big, high-stakes goal. Step 2, leaders, wanting to stay flexible, use vague language. Right away, this lowers the personal risk for everybody involved. Then, if the project fails, which, they sometimes do, that ambiguity makes it impossible to pin the blame on any one person. So what's the lesson everyone learns? Being vague keeps you safe. And you better believe that lesson gets carried right into the next project, making the cycle even stronger.
This explains so much, doesn't it? It's why everyone can be privately tearing their hair out over the lack of clarity, yet any real attempt to introduce it just fizzles out. The system itself actually fights back.
I love this analogy. Think of the organization's culture as an immune system. It sees clarity as a foreign invader, a virus. It perceives it as a threat to the psychological safety of its members, and so it mounts a full-blown immune response to attack and neutralize it. And this chart shows exactly how those antibodies work. You've been in these conversations. You try to pin things down. You ask, what is the exact deadline? The system's countermove? Sometime end of Q3. The result? They just handed all the risk of hitting a moving target right back to you. You ask, who's the decision maker here?
Countermove, we'll decide by committee. Result, authority is so spread out, nothing gets done. Every single countermove is designed to reject clear accountability.
So the system's logic is actually kind of perfect, even if the result drives us nuts. Clarity introduces individual risk, and by rejecting clarity, the system is just doing its main job, protecting its members from blame and keeping that collective, if dysfunctional, sense of safety intact.
And this really is the final, pretty sobering thought. That chronic, maddening lack of clarity we all complain about, it isn't proof of a broken system. It's proof of a system working perfectly to achieve its actual, unspoken goal, which isn't to innovate or get great results, it's to protect its own people from the very real risks that the system itself creates. And, at least now, we can understand why.